I am back from Atlanta, and I am very proud to say I brought 5 books with me, like to Tulsa, but then also to Atlanta, and I finished all 5 before I came home. So I'm very proud of myself. And it's time for my next book. So I just read Good Material. I really enjoyed it. I like to switch genres try to do every book, because it helps me not be, what do they call it? I don't get in reading slumps or anything as much when I do this. So I was like, now might be a good time for a cute little romance. I think it's been a little bit since I did this. Hold on, my dog's barking. Okay, I'm back. I was saying, I try to switch it up to help me not get any reading slumps, or reading fatigue or whatever you call it. And I was like, this might be a good time to do a romance. I think the last one I did was Love Redesigned. I think that's what it was called. And it was not my favorite. So I'm excited to give this one a try. This is The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain. And it is written by none other than Miss Hannah Brown from The Bachelorette. I loved her season. That's my favorite season of the franchise. It was peak reality TV. It was so good. So when I saw her promoting this book, I was like, oh my gosh, what? I had no idea. And I guess she has another one that she already released called Mistakes We Never Made. And I never heard a peep. I'm like, why are people not talking about this? Maybe it's just people are talking about it around me and I'm just missing out on it. I don't know. But I was like, I have to give this a try. And then if I really like this one, then I will try out Mistakes We Never Made, which is her debut novel. So yeah, I'm very excited. I know literally next to nothing except, do you see how many recommendations this has on the back? This is insane, and it's a lot. So I'm very excited to get into this and see what I think. But I will get reading and obviously give updates. So I'm excited to learn more. It's kind of giving Runaway Bride vibes, maybe, with 4 engagement rings. I'm like, how does that occur? But I don't even know the characters' names, so I'm going to get reading and learn about them. So see you soon. Okay, so basically she is going on it's kind of the honeymoon by herself because she's single. And while she's there, her ex-fiance is there. Two of her ex-fiancés are there. But the one that just was the most recent is there. And they talk about how the engagement broke off. It's making it really hard. I understand that Sybil is supposed to be this fun, quirky, go with the flow, like I said, fun vibe. But it's just kind of annoying. So they're talking about the wedding, and she doesn't like this about herself either. So it's makes it hard to criticize when she's like, I hate myself for this. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't like you either. But basically, it's their wedding weekend, and she doesn't tell anyone where she's at. She misses the rehearsal and, the reception or something. He can't get a hold of her. Someone tells him she's in Vegas, so he, drops everything to go visit. He can't find her. She was not responding. And then she shows up. There's still, the wedding, because, maybe she'll show up. She shows up, and she, in front of everyone, after she gets walked down the aisle, she, is like, can we talk? At the end of the aisle, which I understand you don't want to marry him. Or at that point, she did. I understand that, they probably needed a conversation. But at that point, she had decided she wanted to marry him. And she, dragged him over and was like, hey. And he's like, hi. I don't know, just, caused a big scene. And she's like, everyone looked at me in horror. And I'm like, well, yeah. That's the logical. I don't know. I understand that she's not logical and that's just not her personality, but it's, like, kind of hard to read from this perspective because it's, like, girl. Not, you know what I mean? It's just kind of annoying. I am going to be honest. I am not really liking this at all. I feel like, the writing's pretty simple and straightforward, which is fine. But, yeah, there's just not a lot going on with the writing style. B, I feel like the pacing's really weird. Like, we're on page 75. And, I mean, it's pretty short. It's only, like, just at 300 exactly. But the pacing's kind of weird where it's, like, I'm only on page 75, and there's already been, like, kind of a lot happening, but nothing happening at the same time. You know what I mean? And then also, I don't like the main character at all. Like, her decisions make no sense. So she goes on this snorkeling boat trip to try to get away from Jamie and his girlfriend. When she gets on the boat, he's on there. And at one point, she's like, I got a whiff of his cologne. So she jumped off the boat, like, just out of just literally just grabbed the snorkeling gear and jumped off the boat. And people were, like, yelling at her to get back on the boat, and she just swims away to a random island. And then, like, it doesn't make sense for him either, but Jamie jumped in to follow her. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And she's, like, swimming to try to get away from him, and he's, like, chasing after. I'm just so confused. I don't understand her choices. I don't understand his choices. It's, like, they'll make a dig at each other, and then he'll grab her hand, and she's, like, I don't know. It's just so back and forth, and I'm kind of just annoyed, and I'm only on page 75. I'm, like, kind of tempted to DNF, but I'm going to keep going just to kind of see if it gets better, because I guess one of her other ex-fiancés comes in, and so it's not just Jamie, because I don't want her to be with Jamie. I don't like him at all. And they're, like, opposites, which is fine, but it's not in any of the ways that matter. And then she keeps saying, she's kind of blaming him for not being understanding when she was gone for 2 full days on their wedding weekend. She was being like, well, you know that I get, like, panic attacks. And I'm like, a panic attack is fine, but you ran off to Vegas and were gone for 2 days during the wedding. I'm shocked they had, like, the regular wedding at all. Because not only that, she was late to the wedding. So she missed the reception and the rehearsal. And then was late to the actual wedding. And then was mad when he was, like, kind of upset. I don't know. She keeps being like, you knew I was quirky. And he's like, but you knew that I was not that way. And, like, I don't know. I just see a wedding as, like, a big deal. And, like, I wouldn't be okay with that either. So, not to keep mentioning this, but, yeah, I don't like the pacing. I don't like any of the characters, really any of them. The writing is just kind of, it's weird because I don't know how to explain it. It's just very simple and kind of cheesy in a way where, like, at one point she asks someone, hey, can I have the resort map? And then, which is a valid question, but then she's like, you could give me a GPS to the gym and I'd walk into the ocean. And you're like, okay. Like, I don't know. It's just everything is, like, very kind of cheesy. So we'll see if it gets better. I'm hoping to make it to at least page 100, and then I'll see how it goes from there. So we're going back in time and looking at when she met Jamie's family, and I think we're supposed to be thinking that they're super, like, uptight, but I'm not thinking that. I'm just thinking that, like, she seems kind of crazy. Like, at one point they're just talking about, like, college and stuff, and she said, and what do you do for work, Sybil? She goes, I'm actually between things right now. And it's like there was like a pause, or they was like waiting for more of an explanation. And they go, oh, but your career is in the field of, like, just seeing like what she wanted to do. And she just like says, I'm really a dabbler. What? I'm really a dabbler? You're meeting your boyfriend's parents and you're just saying like, I'm a dabbler. Just make something up. Oh my gosh. Like, I just don't see her as fun and quirky. I just see her as like kind of annoying. And it's just not an endearing, because I've read books where like, oh, like it's an actual just quirky. This is just like everything embarrassing and wrong with like the quirky label. It's giving like millennial, you know those videos where they make like goofy faces, they're like, I'm so silly at the camera. That's what she's giving, where she's like, but I'm quirky. And it's like, no, you just like don't take accountability for anything. I don't know. I'm just getting angry. And like I said, I was going to try to give it more of a chance. I'm on page 87. I'm really worried I'm going to have to DNF this. Like, I'm really struggling to find anything that I like at all about this. After dinner, she like just starts like, she is being kind of rude to him about it. And like she's talking about his sister and goes, and what the hell was that with what the hell was with the 3rd degree from Amelia? She knows we were at dinner and not in court, right? And he's just like, babe, come on. And he goes, why? And then she goes, why is she so obsessed with where I went to school? And he's just like, she's not. She was trying to make a connection. Like, I don't know. I'm just annoyed. Like, the answers she was giving, I would have been like, okay. And then at one point, they mentioned something that she wasn't there for. So she's like, I didn't get the joke. But she says that she like laughed so loud at it. What did they describe the laugh as? She said the laugh came out as loud as a 5-piece jazz band. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just everything she's doing. She's like being like annoyed that other people are confused and like a little weirded out by it. But like, that's how I am reading it. So she doesn't come across as like relatable and endearing. Instead, it's just like weird. Okay, so then she reveals, this is like still when they're at their dinner. And keep in mind, we find out like this next page that he's like about to propose. She like lets it slip to him that she never actually graduated from college and just like hadn't told him because she was like embarrassed and didn't want him to think of her differently, which is fine. But he just like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, because I knew you'd think less of me. And he's like, I wouldn't, I don't. And she's like, clearly I wouldn't measure up, da 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 da. And he's just like, okay, well, like, how many credits short are you? You can always go back. Like, I see it in like she's like obviously embarrassed about it. And he's just like, maybe you could go back. And then she just sputs it. She's like, I don't need you to fix me, Jamie. And then she just, the next line, I pulled away from his grasp and crossed towards the closet, looking for something warm to put on. And he's like, where are you going? She was grabbing a jacket. I need to go outside and get some air. And he's like, we're in the middle of a conversation. He says, we're in the middle of a conversation, Sybil. And she goes, a conversation sounds more like a fight to me. Like, this is just my problem with it is like, I get the whole point is that she like runs away from everything going on. But it just honestly gives me whiplash because they'll start arguing, then she's running away, then something. Then the next moment she goes to put his jacket on, the ring falls out, and it's like a romantic moment. So then it's like, it just feels like I'm getting whiplash because I'll be like, okay, they're mid-argument for obviously no reason at all. And then she'll run away, and then something will happen. And then like, oh my gosh, it's just like you can't ever just sit in an actual scene because each scene lasts for like 5 lines, and then I don't know. It's just like they're never having a real conversation because she's running away, and then he's like chasing after her, and then they'll have like a romantic moment and then go back to arguing, and then I just can't deal with it, and I can tell that it's all her fault, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think his reaction was that crazy to what she said. He was just like, okay, why did you keep that a secret? And he's like, well, if it's a big deal, like, maybe you could just go back and get it. Like, he just was, like, confused because he didn't think it was a big deal. And then she's like, I don't need you to fix me. Like, just being really kind of rude. And I just think that she can't ever, I don't know how to explain it. It's just that, like, she's so defensive about literally everything that it's so annoying. Okay, I finished the book. I don't want to sit and just, like, being very negative. I feel like all my thoughts I've kind of already said. So yeah, my wrap up is going to be fairly short. I will say they did kind of explain some of my problems with her decisions were kind of explained. So it kind of made it a little bit more sense. It doesn't mean I like her, but those decisions made more sense. Overall rating, I'm going to give this, for me, like I said, for me, if you like cute little romances, you should definitely check this out. Whenever I don't like something, it's just because, like, my taste is different than other people's, but I think I'm gonna give this a 1.5. I think is pretty accurate. I was really looking forward to it because, like I said, I love Hannah Brown, but it wasn't really for me. So I'm excited to read my next book. So that should be coming up soon.